Okay, I'm gonna make a short little video here. This one has to do with making my bike more comfortable. Now, I've had my bike for about 7 seasons now, and I've put about 50,000 miles on it. But hey, I came up with some other ideas to make my bike more comfortable. So what the heck, it's never too late. But first, I've got to go to my dealership and do a quick measurement so I can show you what I did. Okay, so I came to the dealership to take some measurements of my handlebars in comparison to stock handlebars, because I changed my handlebars and I put reduced reach bars on mine, which changed it up a little bit. But what I didn't do was I didn't lay the new bars on top of the OEM bars, which I should have done. Then I could have showed you, with the picture, what the differences are. It's subtle, but it's different. And so what I'm doing here today is I'm measuring a current model with stock OEM bars, and I'm going to go out and measure mine and show you the difference. And let me tell you, it really does make a difference. So let's take some measurements here. The first thing I'm going to do, we've got a brand new Roadmaster here, and we're going to measure the distance of where this is in relationship to this. And I'm going to do it by right in this area. I'm going to measure from here to here, how far that is. And then I'm going to measure what the distance is up and down, because it did change that way too. So basically we're looking at where is this in relationship to the grill, and then where is the top of this in relationship to this chrome piece. Okay, so what we have from the grill to the grip is about 1.5 inches. Up and down we have from, say, the top of the mirror and brake reservoir, right from this level to the bottom of the chrome is about 1 inch, 1.1 inches. Let's make sure that we're very similar on this side. Now, if you look at this one, you will see that the clutch lever and mirror housing is just about touching the bezel, which I find very interesting because mine was never that close. So anyways, those are the two dimensions, 1.5 inches and 1.1 inches. Just to make sure, I'm going to go and measure another bike to make sure it's very similar. Okay, we'll see if they're the same. And they are not the same. Isn't that interesting? This one here is about 1.1 inches this way instead of 1.5 inches. And up and down, whoops, let's go this way. That one's about 3/4 inch. Interesting. So here's two bikes, basically the same bike, same year. These are, that's a 23, and this one is a 23 also. So you notice that that is almost on the bezel, speaker bezel also. Okay, well, that's interesting. So the one that was further away seems to be more like what mine was. Yeah, I would say that's very similar to what mine was originally. So let's go out and measure the new reduced reach bars to see what they are. Okay, we're back out here looking at my bike out in front of the dealership, and we're going to take a couple measurements here. And like I said, this is a very subtle change, and we're going to see exactly how much it changed from those two bikes inside. Let me
get my measuring device out here. And the first thing we'll measure here is the distance from the bezel to the grip. Okay, I'm looking at 2 inches. So we've got 2 inches from this to this. And the other one, if I remember correctly, was 1.5 inches. So now, that only moved it back 1/2 inch. Interesting. Thought it would be more than that. Now, up and down, if we were to look at this in relationship to that chrome piece, we're at about 1/4 inch. I know it's hard to see the way I'm measuring it, but I've got a pretty good eye in it. So I've just measured from the bottom of this chrome piece to the top of this here. And this housing's very similar to the one that was inside. So what we're looking at is, this is 1/4 inch, and the other one was 1 1/8 inch, I believe. So this has come up considerably. So it has felt like they are higher. So just to get a look at this, so these are still high. They're higher than they are by stock. They're still behind this, so you have wind protection on the back of your hands. You don't need any wind guards or anything like that. If you had the higher ones, you might need the wind guards to keep your hands warm. So a little bit more gap here. Now, if you remember, I showed you the one inside. This was almost right on top of this. Now look at the distance I have here. That is really interesting. That is really interesting. So they have come back considerably. They don't have the little bend like the other ones do. It's just basically longer on this tube here. Okay, so it's a little bit longer here. And then this bend is a little bit different. And it's just where it puts your hand. So they're still, like I said, they're behind this for wind protection. So they feel a little bit taller, and they're a little bit closer to me. And that's one of the things I wanted to point out that I did. Oh, one of the interesting fact, you don't have to change your cable for your clutch or your brake line for your front brakes. So there's no change needed there at all. It actually gave me a little more room here too, to mount more camera junk and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Now the next thing that I did was I added a butt buffer. I don't know if you guys know about this. I know there's some air hawks out there that are, they have air in them, and I've tried them, and I noticed you slip around on the air bubbles on it and stuff. But this one here is a foam gizmo. It fastens onto my bike very easy. You can see right here, it's got just these little clips here. You can adjust them any which way you want, and you can take it off really easy. It doesn't move around or slide on the seat very much. It's got kind of a rubber here that doesn't allow it to move around very much. It's not that thick. It's maybe about 5/8 of an inch thick, and it has these little hooks here. I just hook one over here, and I hook the other one on the other side, and that's it. And that's for this bike, it's a size large. You can have an extra large also if you have a little bigger seat, but this thing here is great. It just takes a little bit of the edge off from this. Is pretty thick leather, and although it's a pretty comfortable seat, I don't mind this seat. Like I say, I put 50,000 miles on my bike, but just having this here just adds a little more comfort. And if it rains, I just take it off. You can see how easy that comes off. Throw it in my bag, and yeah, so that's the other thing I did to add a little comfort. So as you can see, the two different dimensions that I took between a current model and this one, those are just rough dimensions. Basically, it has improved it. There has been a change in the newer models in this housing, so there may or may not have been some changes in this area. These are just rough measurements. Biggest thing that I noticed was on the left hand side, the clutch side, but I tell you, I'd say the bottom line is I like them. So for me, definitely worth it. Okay, so those are the two things that I just wanted to show you. And you're never done tweaking your bike. So yeah, so that's it for this little video, and until next time.